following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly. Hello, and welcome to Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. My name is Matthew, and my favorite They Might Be Giant song is Anna Ing.
And I'm Ryan, and my favorite They Might Be Giant song is Don't Let's Start.
And this is a podcast where we have a drink and we try to be succinct. And this is...
Are rarely successful.
Yeah, we very rarely are succinct. And we often go on tangents. This podcast should have been called Tangents.
We can have a second podcast.
Oh, that seems like a lot of work. But yeah, this is a show where we have a drink. We try to be succinct. And sometimes it feels like the intro is rushed, but we're just going to keep going. Tonight, /afternoon/evening, I'm drinking a shandy because it's Shandy Boy Summer.
Shandy Boy Summer.
Shandy Boy Summer. And I feel like usually
You should make a theme song. Yes.
Oh, how would that even go? While I ponder that, Ryan, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking raspberry lemonade with vodka.
A classic.
Because it's easy. And you can't taste the vodka.
Easy like Sunday morning.
Easy like Sunday morning, even though it is Saturday afternoon.
Sorry, I was taking a drink.
You're fine.
So,
what have you been up to lately, Mr. Matthew?
I have been hanging out down the street. That's that 70s show theme song. I don't know that I want to do that at this time of my life. I've been hanging out and, reading, hanging out. How many times can I say that? And, just kind of living. So what's been going on in your life, Ryan?
I recently have been receiving Post-it notes on my apartment door.
Ooh.
Which is scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a single woman living in a city. And I also, when I got the first one, I had a moment of stupidity because they left a number on it.
Mm-hmm. A phone number?
And I don't recommend doing this because it could have ended a lot worse. So I messaged them. I was like, hey, I got this Post-it note. They gave me your number, and I was trying to play it off as, like, somebody is just handing out your number, and that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Mormons. It's from a sisterhood of Mormon women who want more Mormons in their life, and not to bash on religion, but I am not the ideal candidate as a queer woman.
Yeah. I feel like the Mormons aren't super into that lifestyle.
I don't know enough about Mormonism, and that's probably good. I don't think I need to.
I think it's a weird one. I mean, not to judge, but they think that
not
Jesus
to judge,
came...
but let's judge a little bit.
They think Jesus came to the Americas and just kind of hung out for a bit.
Yeah, so I sent out on the first... I've received 2 now at this point, which is weird, and I'm not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first one, I had, text. I found out it was Mormons, and then I was just, not interested. I was very respectful. I didn't try to tell them off.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the next day, there was another Post-it note, and I was like,
no.
don't like that. This is getting to be a bit much. I did block the number on my phone just because, like, I don't... Like, if they kept trying to talk to me, I would become less tolerant and more just an asshole.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just ignore them.
But, yeah, if they keep sending them, though, I don't know how that's gonna play out.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's a weird one.
Like, once, yeah, okay, you gotta try it. Twice is kind of like, okay, like, this is a weird consistency, and if it happens again, I've just been throwing them away. Like, I'm not gonna do anything, but, like, I'm gonna be frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a what a time to be alive.
Conundrum. What a time to be alive. Ooh, what a time to be alive.
I want you to stay.
Today, so I think Ryan has talked before about on the podcast, that was a sentence structure if I've ever heard one, how she has a playlist of songs that remind her of me. And
I do.
I thought it would be a fun idea if we each kind of took 10 to 15 songs, depending on the time that we have, of playlists of songs that remind us of each other and present them to each other. So we can either be like, oh yeah, that is me, or why does that remind you of me? But yeah.
Yes, and I think most of these you'll be like, oh yeah, I get that. Especially, I feel like when I started out, it was like, these are attached to very specific memories, and then it goes into just like, these are just songs that I remember vibing with you about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say, I think a lot of the songs on mine you will remember from our trip to Colorado.
There's a couple on here. Ooh, we should take a tally to see how many repeats. This will be the real definition of are we the same person?
If our playlists are the exact same songs.
Yes.
Yeah, I picked out 15. I will admit the last 5 were kind of a struggle. But, because I mean, I feel like
I have a few cop-outs.
If I'm listening to a song, it's like, oh, this song reminds me of Ryan. But if I'm just sitting there looking at my phone, just being like, what songs remind me of Ryan? It's really hard to think of 15.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
But yeah.
Don't need this list anymore. So now we're going... It's just going to be like little tally marks if we have the same one.
Okay. So the big question is, how do we want to do this? Do we want to like go me a song, you a song? Or do we want to like my playlist, your playlist?
Why don't we do... So like I have like 2.5 to 3 groups. I tried so hard. We've talked about it in the past. I love a good triptych when it comes to music. And so I did try to create that as like 3 separate sections of like aspects of Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
And then like halfway through the second part, I was like, nah, I'm just like, I don't want to pick 3 more songs about sad Matthew.
Two sad boys are enough.
So I just started picking. I feel like I ended up getting one more sad boy, but it's not in order. But yeah, so we can... I don't know. How do you want to do it? This is your episode.
I feel like me give a song, you give a song is better flow.
Back and forth. Okay.
Yeah. So, to kind of preface this off, Ryan, how did you build your playlist?
So, like I said earlier, I did try to build a triptych, and then I failed beautifully. So the first 5 songs are songs that remind me of Matthew / high school.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I know one.
I mean, you know all of these. I don't think I
But-
picked a single song that you don't know.
But I mean, I can probably no scope one of them.
Probably the first one, actually.
Is it a song by the Decemberists?
It is a song by the Decemberists.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. And then it slowly turns into like what I was going to make the second part of the triptych, which is Sad Boy Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
I got like 2 songs in, and then I was like, I don't want to like, because I was afraid that it would come off as like me mocking, and that's not the that's not the intent even a little bit.
I don't think I would
it's
have
just-
taken it that way.
There's
I know I'm a
songs that I
sad boy.
know like evoke emotion, and then the rest of them are just songs that like we have like vibed with. The third part I was originally going to call songs that we've definitely listened to together when we're drunk in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets kind of muddled there. But yeah, that's how I built out my playlist. Did you have a reasoning behind your playlist?
So I just sort of set myself the task of like, I pulled up a note on my phone and did like the numbers 1 through 15 and just kind of went down the list and was just like, okay, what songs remind me of Ryan? Okay, yep, that one. She'll probably have that one on her playlist, so I'm going to say a different one, but yeah, I put thought into mine, but I feel like you like structured yours a little more in a way that I enjoy. It's
just
very
'cause I'm a
Ryan,
Pisces.
very Ryan. Oh, yeah. And I'm a Leo. So you know me. I do Leo stuff. Rar XD.
No.
Sad boy Leo.
No, but you being excited that mine is more structured is a very Leo thing.
I'm going to have to trust you on that because I know little to nothing about horoscopes.
I'll teach you one day when I'm brave enough.
Okay.
All right, so do you want to give your number 1?
So, the first song that I am going to give is Hard Times by Paramore.
Yes, that's a bomb one. I did not put Paramore on my list because I figured that you would put
So,
Paramore.
I thought you were going to put Paramore because my first thought was Ain't It Fun? But I was like, no, she's going to put that on the playlist because we've listened to that together after watching Twilight. So I went with Hard Times because that was like the second song that I remember listening to.
I absolutely adore Paramore. I love Hayley Williams. If I was still in like that really cool dyeing my hair strange colors phase, you bet I would be throwing money at Good Die Young.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I figured Paramore would show up, so I was like, I'm gonna back off. I'm going to allow myself a few others that might be considered like cop-outs in our relationship, but I didn't allow myself Paramore.
Don't worry, I've got a couple cop-outs too, so. Okay. What's your
my
first?
First, as you pretty much guessed at, is the first in my little like Matthew/high school. And it is, in fact, Here I Dreamt I Was an Architect by the Decemberists. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but I know that you and I talk about it a lot because you listen to it on repeat.
Mm-hmm. I think we've talked about it a couple times.
In our favorite teacher's class
Mm-hmm.
in high school. And then it's something that I kept on like a little bit. Like we sat in our English teacher's class and would listen to music. And actually that's where several of these bad boys come from in the beginning. Because I have distinct memories in that classroom and the songs that are involved. What do you have for your number 2, Mr. Matthew? It was a weird accent, and I apologize.
It's okay. Real quick, before I say my number 2, are the first 5 all from English class?
Not all from English class. all definitely from high school, with one leaking, I remember my memory of it leaking more decidedly into college.
Okay. Because, yeah, I
Like
don't
early
know.
my college.
I don't know 4 more songs that we both listened to in high school, but we'll get there. Okay. So, my number 2, speaking of our trip to Colorado, is Gold by Kiara. I think is how you say her name.
That is how you say her name. And I did not add that one to our list either, but that is a song that we definitely listened to on the way to Colorado. And it was one I remember being like, he's not going to like this one. And I tried really hard to like make it all songs that I knew were both like at least neutral to each of us. But I was like, at that point in time, I was like, this is such a banger for me. Like, he has to listen to it. I'm sorry. And then you ended up liking it, and I was very happy about that.
Yeah, I like music that's like glitchy, if that makes sense. And it's a very like, the vocals in the chorus are very glitchy.
Yeah.
And I very much enjoy that. So yeah, it was a nice little like surprise musical introduction on the trip. So that's why I picked that for that one. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is A Punk by Vampire Weekend. And I know that it is not your favorite Vampire Weekend song.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand that. And I could have gone through and tried to pick what I think I remember being your favorite Vampire Weekend song. But my memory associated with A Punk is like more solidified than like any other Vampire Weekend song.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were standing in our English teacher's classroom. It was like the end of the day. It was towards the end of the year even. So like we were kind of just slacking off and not doing anything. Like we were pretty much in that class all the time.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know that we ever worked in that class. We put out like maybe a third of the papers we should have. And like none of the newscasts.
When you were editor.
Yeah, obviously that's what I meant.
When I was editor, we put out papers. But I remember, like, that song was playing, and then, like, at the beginning part, when it started, like, you and I started, like, jumping at the same time, and it was, like, a weird, like, because if I remember correctly, your significant other at the time was not a fan that happened.
She wasn't a fan of a lot of things.
But it was, like, a fun, weird little memory and a sign of what's to come.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 2 and the memory associated with it.
Yeah. I'm not sure I could tell you what my favorite Vampire Weekend song in high school was.
I don't know that I actually currently I currently don't listen to Vampire Weekend.
I don't think I've
but
listened since like Contra. Is that one of their albums?
I don't know. The one that I picked from you is from their self-titled album. So
Yeah. I think maybe I liked what is that song? Cape Cod Kwasa Kwasa? A little better, but yeah.
yeah.
I do. Okay, I just remembered my favorite Vampire Weekend song from high school.
What is it?
Cousins. Do you know that?
Not off the top of my head. We will listen later.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send it to you. It'll be fine. Okay. I forgot that we were doing this and I set my phone down. Sorry. Okay. So, is it time for my third then?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Speaking of Colorado, serving up all the hits. Run Away With Me by Carly Rae Jepsen.
I knew that one was going to be on both of ours.
Okay. So yeah
Yeah,
basically we listen to it a lot. That saxophone is so good, and we listen to it in like western Kansas, driving to Colorado.
It's become so tied to you that anytime I hear that, I like immediately go, oh, I wonder what Matthew's up to.
See, for me, it's like I hear it and I think we need to stop to get gas. We're gonna run out of gas.
That was a big concern. Especially because like neither of us had been out that way
On our
that
own.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, without like parental help. And so, like, I feel like anytime we passed a gas station, I was like, what if this is the last one?
I very distinctly remember, like, we got past one point and you saying, like, my parents said after we got past this point, they're not going to come help us, so we're on our own, basically. It's like, it's too far out. We're on our own. And I was like, oh, shit. Things just got real. We're going to die. We're going to drive off a mountain.
And we didn't,
Nope.
which was so good.
Yeah. So what is your number 3?
Don't
gonna-
get mad.
Okay. Interested to see where this is going.
My number 3 is The Cave by Mumford & Sons.
I get it. It's an
Can I
embarrassing.
tell them why?
Yeah, it's an embarrassing part of my life, but if I don't own it, then what's the point?
In high school, I will say that you played very well because, like, Mumford & Sons, I feel like, was at the top of their game when we were in high school.
Mm-hmm. Also, did not actually know the song before I played it. Very
You
very
didn't.
key point.
Matthew decided to enter the school's talent show and play The Cave by Mumford & Sons when he didn't know the words. And he placed, if I remember correctly, but because they considered it a comedy routine
Because
more
of
than
how
an
bad
actual
it was.
more than him actually playing the song.
My distinct memory is about halfway through, I got very angry at myself for not knowing the song, and I started strumming really hard. And afterwards, I don't use a pick, I just use my finger when I strum. So I remember looking at my guitar afterwards and being like, what's this red stuff on the guitar? And it's like, oh, I'm bleeding. Like, I had strummed so hard that, like, the skin around my fingernail, like, peeled off, and I was bleeding down the guitar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's a fun high
is-
school Matthew rage incident.
I remember it being good, and I remember you, like, taking... Because I feel like it was, like, a very funny thing, and you didn't take it super seriously, which made it play off as, like, this was more planned than it actually was. Because it was really funny, because you'd be like, I just learned the song, like, 10 minutes ago, basically. And then you started playing it, and then you would, like, stop for a second and be like, I don't think that's right. And then you kept playing, and then you started playing harder, and apparently you hurt yourself to the point where you were bleeding.
Yeah.
That part's not so fun.
That
It
is
is
fun.
interesting, though.
Yeah. I redeemed myself, though, the next year when I played Down by the Water by the Decemberists, and I won
Yes.
the talent show
And you beat a person who entered
twice.
twice.
Yes. I beat her twice. And
That's all that really matters.
I will say, though, I did do 3 things at once, and she just did 1 thing at once both of those times. So, just based on pure, like, I played harmonica and guitar and sang all at the same time, so I had more going on in mine.
All right, what's your number? Are we on number 4 now? Yes.
Yes. So, my number 4 is a song that title I don't know, but I call it Umbaway by Rusted Root. I think maybe
Isn't
it's
it like take me or
Send Me On My Way.
send me on my way? Yeah.
I don't. My family just calls it Umbaway because it sounds like he's saying Umbaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is actually, like, that used to be one of my absolute favorite songs. I remember I first heard it in the movie Matilda, which was one of my favorite movies for the longest time.
I
And I
believe-
still absolutely adore Mara Wilson.
I believe we have established on the podcast that Miss Honey is a sapphic icon.
Miss Honey is a sapphic icon, and I will die on that hill that nobody is trying to kill me for. Yeah. Why did you pick is just another Colorado? Because I'm pretty sure that was on the Colorado playlist.
I think it is another Colorado, but I feel like we've listened to it, like, not on the Colorado trip too. But it is a song that now, anytime I hear it, I associate it with you, so that's why it's on the playlist.
I mean, it's a low-key bop. I think it's the only Rusted Root song that I know.
It's entirely possible that it's the only Rusted Root song.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
I think that's the end of my little Colorado triptych. That isn't a triptych.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything else is not Colorado, but yeah. So what's
Okay.
your number 4? Number 4, yeah.
My number 4, and this is kind of one that it's like, maybe it's more early college, but I'm pretty sure you started listening to them in high school. And it is I Will Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie.
Yep.
Because Matthew was a precious little hipster boy.
I definitely went through a Death Cab for Cutie phase right before my Decemberist phase.
And then I feel like there was like a rebirth in college, because my most distinct memory of this song was we were gonna do something in the library, like we were gonna hang out, which just seems like a weird place to hang out at the library at the school we went to.
I feel like I feel like
it's college.
yeah. People didn't read there.
But I remember walking in, and like you had your back to like the door, which if you're waiting for somebody, in my head I remember I was like, that's weird. Why wasn't he like trying to look for me? But it's fine. But I remember walking up and you were listening to this song while you were waiting for me, because you listen to music a lot.
Yeah.
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 But
That
yeah,
sounds like
that's
something I
my-
would do. Both
That's my
not
Death
understanding
Cab song.
social situations and listening to Death Cab. Very Matthew.
All right, we are hitting a third of the way through, Matthew. What is your...
So, my number 5's a big one.
Okay.
It is Pink by Janelle Monae.
Yes, it is a very good song.
I remember very clearly. We went to see Avengers Infinity War at the drive-in, and you're like, I'm going to play this song, and then you started blasting Pink in near Carthage, Missouri, and I was like, we're going to die, but it's fine.
And we didn't. We didn't die. We
Nope.
survived.
And we
God,
kind
that's
of
such a
watched
good song.
Infinity War.
Yeah, I feel like it was like a full moon that night. Like, it was too bright.
It was not the ideal conditions for a drive-in. But yeah, anytime
But
I hear
we-
that song, I think of hanging out at the drive-in waiting for the movie to start. But yeah,
That's a good one.
it is a good
I'm proud
one.
of it.
What is your number 5?
All right, so this is like the first kind of blurred lines. Like, this is the end of my like high school Matthew triptych.
Poor phrasing.
Yeah, it's not blurred lines. Like, we don't like that song at all.
Give me
But it kind of dips into Sad Boy Matthew, but like I definitely feel like it's closer to high school than Sad Boy.
I mean, if we're being honest, like after middle school is just Sad Boy Matthew.
And we have talked about this song pretty extensively. It was one of our tournament songs.
Oh. Okay.
It is The Ghost of You by My Chemical Romance.
I'm going to change around some songs real quick.
Wait, is Ghost of You on that one too?
Nope. But it plays in, so I'm going to...
So your number 6 was Teenager.
Yep. Moving it
Love
around.
it.
But yeah, anytime I hear Teenagers or Ghost of You, I'm reminded of the tournament and my shame.
But yeah, it's just, I feel like it's a classic. If you want to hear us talk more in depth about this song, kind of, not really, go listen to the My Chemical Romance New Year's Eve tournament that we decided was a good idea.
I mean, it was a good episode. Our friendship took a hit, but but yeah. So yeah,
But yeah.
Teenagers is my next one. So I feel like we've pretty much established.
If you want to listen to Ryan absolutely owning how to be the best at song tournaments, go listen to.
Yeah, if you want a masterclass in beating Matthew in a song tournament,
Go listen to the My Chemical Romance extravaganza.
spectacular.
Spectacular.
Okay.
So, the first, like, hard dive into Sad Boy Matthew is Time Adventure by Rebecca Sugar.
Ooh, okay. This might be a
It's
spoiler, but you can mark that one off the play.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're at 2, which honestly, so far, we're not as high as I thought we would be. Considering that we're closer to halfway than not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a super sweet song. I absolutely adore it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a cute, sweet message. And we just have very different like, it makes me happy. Like, it makes me, like, yearn for nostalgia, but, like, it makes me feel like the first time you sent it to me, I was like, oh, that's super sweet, because you're like, this song's about us, kinda, and I was like, oh.
It wrecked me for, like, weeks.
I know, and that's why it's, like, the first, like, this is, like, hard line, this is Sad Boy Matthew.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that it's necessarily sad, it's just, like, existential crisis Matthew.
I can see that, but it's definitely, like, on there. Like, anytime I hear it, I 100% think of you. I don't think of Adventure Time.
Mm-hmm.
I think of you, and it's
I don't
a very
really
sweet
associate
moment.
it with Adventure Time either.
But it's always, like, a sweet, like, it makes me happy. All right, we are into number 7s.
Okay. So yeah, my number 6 was Time Adventure, so I'm gonna go ahead. No, wait. My number 7 is Time Adventure. So...
Was that your original number 6?
No, it was my original number 15, but I moved it up since you said it. So, yeah, Time Adventure. What's your number 7? Because my playlist is getting all goofed up.
You can keep them in order from now on if you want, and we can just, like, revisit. It's not going to sound bad if we do it that way.
I don't know that any of the other ones are going to be repeats, though.
Okay. This is another, like, Sad Boy Matthew, and I feel like the artist, like, the song could probably be changed out. I did, however, pick Untitled number 1, Vodka by Sigur Rós.
Yeah, I would have gone with Varuth. Is that how you say it?
Okay, I could not remember. I tried so hard, and I was like, I know it starts with a V. I know it starts with a V. But the only word I could fucking think of was Vasur, and that's not, like, a word. That's from, like, an old D&D campaign I was a part of. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I know that that's not the right one. So I did end up settling on Vodka.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that album was also very, like, heavily played in college for me.
Yes. And I also feel like it's, like, the number 1 of, like, whenever you send me Sigur Rós songs, I know that I need to probably check in on you in, like, an hour and a half.
What? No.
But yeah, that's my number 7. And that is kind of the last, like, there's one more song that I'm kind of like, this is a little Sad Boy. But it's not, like, it's just, like, anytime I hear it, I think of you more so than just, like, Sad Boy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, so we're on to number 8, which we have already mentioned in this episode, and it's Don't Let's Start by They Might Be Giants.
I love that. I'm going to go ahead and spoil my bit a little bit because my number 8 is Anna Ing by They Might Be Giants.
Nice.
And I love that it's the same number.
And the same artist. And also, we've both already said those at the beginning of the episode.
We did.
So,
I
yeah.
like that. That's a good note. We know each other pretty well.
Yeah. I remember you telling me before that your dad would used to sing it to Don't Let Start to you when you were younger. So, like, anytime I hear that, I think of that. But, yeah. And did they play it when we went to see them?
They played Don't Let's Start. They didn't play Birdhouse in Your Soul, which is another top They Might Be Giant song for me. They did play Don't Let's Start. They Might Be Giants were like my lullaby growing up. I think that I might have mentioned that on here before. Absolutely loved them for like from the time I was little. Like I remember being in elementary school and listening to, I want to say it came out the year I was born, Flood. Their album Flood. I listened to it.
94 maybe.
I think it's 95. I could be wrong. It very easily could be 94. But I remember listening to Flood in elementary school and like would be floored when nobody else knew who they were. I was like, how do you not know They Might Be Giants?
Yeah.
I was a hipster before my time.
Yeah, I don't know that I knew about them until middle school.
That's fair. I feel like when I got to middle school, I was friends with a girl who knew them, but only knew, like, Dr. Worm.
A classic.
It is. Like, it's a classic. It's a good one, but, like...
I think, didn't they play, like, a music video of Dr. Worm on Nickelodeon?
Maybe. I don't remember that, but that's a very real
when
possibility.
When you said Dr. Worm, I had, like, a vivid, like, picture of, like, 90s kids on a sidewalk. They're, like, real human kids. But then there's a cartoon worm that's like singing Dr. Worm to them. Do you remember this? Did you watch Nickelodeon?
We'll look into that. I did a little bit.
Were you a fan of Rocket Power?
I did like Rocket Power.
Do you know the theme song by heart like me and my sister?
No, I don't. Is that on my playlist?
Is the Rocket Power.
The Rocket
that leads
Power
us into my next song. The Rocket Power themes. Not really. Okay.
No, but They Might Be Giants is also the first concert that you and I saw together. Right? We didn't see one before that.
I think it's the only concert we've ever seen together, right? So far.
Yeah. And I apologize if you hear that. My cat is getting into a drawer of mine. Somewhere in my kitchen.
Ooh.
She likes to play with knives.
Yeah, going for the knives.
But yeah, They Might Be Giants was our first and only concert together so far. I feel like eventually we'll go to a concert again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would like to go to more concerts with you. Because I feel like that was a fun night, even though it was a Tuesday or Wednesday and they played an acoustic encore and it was just like, okay guys, Tippy Canoe and Tyler 2 is fine, but on a Wednesday at midnight, no. Yeah,
that was it was a fun night. I do like concerts. I really liked the venue. It was super fun. It was like the first time that I'd been in the area that I live now without my family. If that makes sense. Or, like, without, like, a school connotation. I feel like we went up there for a school thing once. Maybe. Maybe not. Probably not. I don't think we did cool things.
I remember going to George Washington Carver a lot.
But it was, like, the first time I'd been up here, and the first time I was kind of like, yeah, I could see myself being here. And now I live here, so... Thanks, They Might Be Giants, maybe.
It's all thanks to them.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 9? Okay, so my number 9 is Dance Monkey by Tones and I, which is a song I don't know if I would be able to pick out, but I've heard you talk about it a lot, so I associate it with you.
It is a song that I like. I feel like you would be able to pick it out. Like, I feel like it is different enough to where you'd be able to pick it out. It's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
I also realized where we're at time-wise. I don't know if you have or not.
It's fine.
That was number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my
Dance
number 9
monkey.
we have talked about previously, and it is Run Away With Me by the lovely Carly Rae Jepsen.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, yes. Good Vibes, yes. McElroy's, yes.
Yeah, I feel like that's how I
Started
don't-
listening to her.
Yeah, I don't know that's how I found out about the song, but I know that I got a bunch of like Carly Rae Jepsen information thrown at me by Griffin.
What else is there to say? Probably nothing.
So, moving right along, my next song, whose number I don't remember because my playlist is out of order now,
We're on
is
10.
10, is This Is America by Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
I did say that all my Colorado songs were over, but then I forgot this was down here. I remember very clearly us blasting this, driving through small town Kansas, and being like, we're gonna die. But yeah, it's a song that I very much associate. I feel like you maybe showed it to me. Like, I had listened to other Childish Gambino stuff before, but then you were like, hey, listen to this, it's very good. And I was like, yes. And there's a fun YouTube mashup with this and Call Me Maybe.
Fun is an interesting word. There is a mashup.
Fun's a word that I use a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean fun. Maybe more interesting. But yeah, so This Is America is my number 10. What's your
Hell
number
yeah.
10?
My number 10 is Red Shoulder by Squirrel Flower. You showed me Squirrel Flower, and I really dug Headlights, and then this is like the second song by Squirrel Flower that I really, really enjoyed, and it's directly because of you, and if I'm not mistaken, it's your favorite song on that album.
It is.
But I was like, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is your favorite song on that album.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I hear it, I'm like, Matthew.
Yeah, it's not my favorite Squirrel Flower song, but I think it's like tied for my favorite on that album with Seasonal Affective Disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also a good song. But yeah. Excited for the new album. In June, maybe?
Ooh, who knows?
Who knows? Not me. Okay. Moving right along. I feel like we saw the time and now we're...
And now we're like,
Hey.
Let's push through, bud.
So, number 11 is
Uh-huh.
Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood. Which is
Yeah.
a song you made me listen to a lot in high school. Or not high school, college.
I don't think it was high school. I think it was college.
That I was kind of indifferent to.
Yeah.
But
well,
you liked it.
I did like it. I also feel like the songs you picked for me are not like the most current representation of me.
We have also not been in the same place together for a while.
That's fair. That's a very valid reason as to why these would be kind of like older songs that I was into. Cool.
And I feel like we don't necessarily send music to each other as often as we used to.
That's fair. And when we do, we find out random things like we both like Space Girl.
Yeah. I almost put that on here, but then I didn't.
It was, okay, that was on here, and then I was like, but does it actually remind me of Just Matthew, or is it just a good song that I realized we both liked? And so it did not make the cut. It's a good song, though. You should stream it.
Mhm, yeah, it's very good. What is
Francis
your number
Forever.
11?
This might be confusing. My number 11 is 17 by Peach Pit. This is another one, like, I feel like you showed me Peach Pit, and I distinctly, we're kind of getting into the, like, we're drunk, we're listening to music together,
I'm showing you
What's
my
it gonna
good dancing
be?
boy.
and it was, yeah, that's it, and as soon as I was like, Matthew, I was like, that good dancing boy, and so I picked 17.
Yep,
It's a good song. Like, it really is.
I feel like that's like a peak drunk Matthew and Ryan era song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which leads me into my number 12, Alrighty Aphrodite by Peach Pit.
Hell yeah. I love that song. That's a good ass song. I like that they're like, ours are like stacked.
Like,
It's like,
similar artists but different songs.
yeah, I appreciate that. That makes me really happy.
But yeah, so similar artists, different song for number 12. What's your number 12?
Oh, that was my number 11. My number 12 is kind of like a diversion back into Sad Boy Matthew. And it is I Go to the Barn Because I Like by Band of Horses.
Ooh.
Oof. I distinctly remember in college, we weren't near each other, but like I was texting you one night and I was like with a friend and I was very upset. I want to say it's because I got broken up with, and I was texting, I was like, I'm really sad, and I was like, I'm listening to The Funeral by Band of Horses, and you're like, you should listen to I Go to the Barn Because I Like that, and I was like, should I? And you're like, yeah, and then I cried, like a lot.
Yeah. It'll do it to you.
It will, it gets you.
Like, that's not... So, peak Sad Boy Matthew with Band of Horses is a song called Evening Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one wrecks me. But I Go to the Barn Because I Like that is also up there.
Yeah.
It's a very good song, but you need to be in a good headspace to listen to it.
You have to be mentally prepared.
So
I think we're on 13.
13. 13 is This Woman's Work by Kate Bush. So I remember, I think I'm either remembering Two Nights Together or I'm remembering this correctly. But did we listen to like a bunch of Kate Bush and Carve Pumpkins together at one point?
I think I did make you listen to Kate Bush while we were carving pumpkins.
It's like anytime I hear Kate Bush, it's just like, oh, I'm carving pumpkins on pumpkin
Which,
patch
like,
day.
if you're not listening to Kate Bush in the fall, what are you listening to?
Band of Horses. But yeah, it's like anytime I hear Kate Bush, I distinctly remember carving pumpkins in your kitchen and just being like, what a time.
It was a good time.
But yeah, and I feel like This Woman's Work, you've said before, is your favorite Kate Bush song, which is why I picked it.
It's definitely up there. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I don't know that I could tell you my favorite. I haven't listened to Kate Bush in a while.
Since Pumpkin Patch Day?
Pretty much since Pumpkin Patch Day, honestly.
But yeah, so what's your number 13?
My number 13 is Abbasid Junction, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, by Coco Roco. It's another one that you just, like, offhandedly sent to me, and it was one that I actually, like, listened to the whole thing. Because, like, normally I love you to bits, but when you send me music, the chances of me listening to the whole song, especially back when it was very prevalent that you would send me Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
I was very kind of like weary about which ones I click on. But yeah, that was one that like I started listening to and I was like, this is Mr. Jones, I swear to God, and I clicked on it and it wasn't Mr. Jones. And it was a banger. So now that anytime I hear it, I'm like, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good, like, jazzy, instrumental-ish song. I do, like, very clearly remember listening to that song a lot to go to sleep. Because, like, I bought it through iTunes, and so I would just, like, play it on loop while I fell asleep. And then, like, eventually, like, at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up and be like, why is this still playing? And turn it off. But, yeah. It's very, like, soothing. It's a sad boy soothing song. Sad boy
And
Matthew.
the band
soothing.
name is really fun to say. Like, Coco Roco is a good band name.
Yeah.
We are at number 14. We are almost at the end.
So this is the big one where I gotta decide what I want to be the last song.
That's what I was at that point too, and I've finally picked.
Okay, so for my number 14, It's kind of a cop out. It just says Hosier. No real song in particular.
Wait, I want to see if you can pick my favorite Hosier song, though.
I can't because all I know is Take Me to Church.
Oh. I need to start sending you more Hosier then.
I just know he's a tall Irishman that you enjoy.
He is a very tall Irishman, and I do very much enjoy him. I would have to say, if you want to know my favorite song from his first album is probably Work Song. And then
work.
No.
Work.
I know that I'm supposed to improvise.
But no.
Like, yes and that, but I just can't. And then from his second album, Wasteland Baby, which is the titular song, Wasteland Baby is my favorite. It's very cute, very pretty. Dark. He wrote it about the, like the big clock. I'm
Big
gonna
Ben?
bash this is gonna be bad. So there's like the big like countdown clock that like anytime that
Oh,
scientists
the
move
Doomsday
it,
Clock?
he wrote Wasteland Baby when they moved it closer to like 0, and like when it hit 0, the world is uninhabitable. Like it's a very serious thing, and so he was like, what is romance gonna look like in
In the
the apocalypse?
Yeah.
And I think that it's gorgeous and beautiful. My number 14 is Flaming Hot Cheetos by Clairo.
A classic.
I feel like it's one that we always listen to. I just think you remember sitting on your couch and being confused by the music video. And it's
The
just
music
like
video is weird.
yeah, but it was like a good memory, and I remember being like, what is happening?
Yeah, because I think we had talked about that song before, but I think that night I was just like, have you ever seen the music video?
And I had not, and I was not prepared.
Better or worse than the time I made you watch the Zapruder film?
Much better. The Zapruder film changed me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
And we're on the last one. Can you get a
Number
drum roll? Beautiful. Perfect.
Okay. So this is the big one. The one everybody knows. The one everybody's expecting, but has not shown up till now. It is the one that defines our friendship. The song that I think of whenever I think of you. And that is Mr. Jones by the Counting Crows. This has all been a goof.
And this is the last episode ever
Worth
of
it?
Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour, because we're not friends anymore. No,
Worth
it's
it?
fine. My last one's kind of a goof one too.
But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, anytime I hear it, I do think of you because I've sent it to you so much as a goof. Where it's just sort of become like a self-fulfilling prophecy of
Yeah.
like, this song starts playing, it's like, oh, I need to send this to Ryan now.
How often does it just start playing in your everyday life? Because I feel like I get it a lot more often.
I mean, YouTube has started suggesting it to me because of how often I send it to you.
Oh man. Yikes.
So yeah, that's my goof number 15.
Yeah.
What's your number 15?
I don't actually know your feelings on this band at all. And it's so my number 15 is We're Going to Be Friends by the White Stripes.
Mm-hmm.
Only because it is like the beginning song in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
And that is like the one movie that I feel like it's the number 2 movie that is a contention point for us. Because I think it's a movie that's so bad it's good, and you say that it's a movie that is so good it's good.
It's a masterpiece.
And it's just not. It's just okay. But every time I hear that, like, I think of, it's like a progression of, like, I hear the song and it's like, oh, Napoleon Dynamite, and it's like, Matthew.
Yeah, I get that.
So, yeah. Matthew, your number 15 is We're Gonna Be Friends. I like that we didn't end on, like, a weird, serious note, because that's not how this friendship works.
Yeah, I am kind of glad that your 15 wasn't like some heartfelt thing, and mine was Mr. Jones.
I want you to stay.
Alright, I'll be down to have
So, like, takeaways from this, I honestly expected that we would have more of the same song, which leads me to believe we're not the same person 100%.
Yeah, because, I mean, we had the same band a couple times, but it was always different songs from the same band.
Yeah, we only had 2, like, straight up repeats, which I think is good for us.
Yeah, I do also feel like our musical taste, we do like the same bands, but I think we like different kinds of music.
I feel like we like the same bands, but for different reasons.
Yeah, that might be a more accurate way of putting that. But yeah. Fun times. Hard times. Gonna make you
Hey.
wonder why you even try. That's not a fun way to end this episode. So this has been Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. We've been recording for an hour. And that's more than I thought we were going to record for.
There's a good few-minute diversion where I yell about my cats. It's fine.
Yeah. But anyway, if you want to follow us for some reason on social media, we're at Rhetorical Magic. If you want to send us an email for some reason, it's rhetoricalmagiccocktailhour@gmail.com. I'm at rmchmatt. And Ryan is...
At Queer Mothra on Twitter.
And Janelle, like we always say, be good, be happy, be healthy, be safe, and like we say at the end of every episode, clink.
I'm going to be away from
We did it.
Alright, I'll be down in about 20 minutes.
Oh my god!
We are recording.
Danny. Move it.
This is Ryan's cat corner,
Get
where
that.
Ryan tries to corral her cats, and it's over. Shh. Nobody tell her. Secret segment.
Oh my god.
Just go grab it.
Huh?
Just go grab it. Whatever she's playing with.
Okay.
All by myself. I don't wanna be all
Are you done?
by myself. Boom, 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 boom. All
Okay.
by myself.
But you're not.
Oh, sorry, I was just serenading myself.
You're fine. But the doomsday clock